onto a streaming website called Twitch, which is not, getting any traction at the moment because it's a gaming site, but we're just going everywhere right now. And it's a lot of fun, man. And then we'll be on Spotify, and we'll be on.
I think I have it. The link, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I think it is. It is Twitch TV to the Moon Digital. Is that right?
It is. Do you want to? Yeah, I'd share the Facebook one. Probably easier for people to watch because no one's going to have a Twitch account.
Okay.
I'll go into Messenger and I'll send you. Actually, I'll send it in the Zoom chat here, my man. This is the chat for. That's the link for the Facebook video. So then you can go and share that, and then we're live in another place. We're live everywhere. Everyone watch this.
Cool.
It's all about presence.
Here we go. I posted it.
Cool, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we'll kick it off and just see where the conversation goes. Hey, no worries. Stay hydrated. How's your signal there? Yeah, pretty good. Okay. Every now and then it gets a bit choppy if there's it, but we're not perfect.
We'll be just like that.
That's it. Yeah, man. We're not claiming to be perfect, but anyway, we'll do our best. So welcome back to the Coaches to the Moon podcast, everyone. I'm here today with Jan Denecke. He's a holistic health coach originally from the Netherlands, but now he's here in Sydney. And he reaches his audience in both an online and physical capacity through his wellbeing clinic, UPAYA, which means limitless possibilities in Sanskrit. So he does a whole range of services from everything from, he and his team help with everything from yoga and meditation to fertility coaching and sound healing. So I'm really interested to have a chat today. Jan, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so, it's nice to meet you as well. We just met before, so.
Yeah, I'm meeting a lot of people at the moment, and everyone is very grateful to come on and spend some time to have a conversation. So shows the beauty of this coaching industry we're in. A lot of people happy to help. I'll just say I've been hearing a lot of Dutch accents this week, funnily enough. I've recently discovered Wim Hof. And I've been listening to his audiobook that he narrates himself in his beautiful accent. Do you prescribe much to the Wim Hof method?
Not really. Like, it's very funny. Like, it's wonderful that it's such a popular movement all of a sudden. But I remember him, I think probably 15, 19 years ago when he was talking about what he did. I think he went to the North Pole, went into the ice there and stuff like that. So I just feel I don't do anything with it. I've never gone in. Well, I go in ice baths, but that's when in the gym. That's all of it. And I remember enjoying it when I was younger, going into those baths. But no, I don't do anything with it. I think I'm just scared.
It is a bit scary, but you have a great approach to health anyway. So I was just curious, as a Dutchman, I suppose it's a bit of a cliche question, just connecting two Dutch people together like that, assuming that you're connected. But you do help people in a very holistic sense of health. And your business, UPAYA, your clinic, I want to talk about it because it's very interesting what's happened this year. You've got a team and you offer a big range of services. I'll quickly say first, what was the decision to open a physical clinic, like for you after doing so many things in other people's clinics and online?
It was something that I always kind of wanted to do. UPAYA is a part of a yoga studio. It's not a part of a yoga studio, it's separate, but it's incorporated in the yoga studio community that I work in, which is Egg of the Universe. And I've been, ever since I moved from the Netherlands here 10 years ago, I've been working for them. So it kind of went into a natural process. And I also financially came to some money to invest, which came out of a breakup which was not easy, very stressful. And I, rather than spending it, even though I did spend some things on like trainings and also a car and stuff like that and furniture, but I also wanted to do something with that money in such a way that it would have a purpose rather than just sitting there. So this opportunity came to me within the community that I already worked in. So I felt it was a very natural process to go into that. It took probably a year or a bit more than a year to finally open up, but yeah.
Wow. And then you opened up in April, and then we went into lockdown for 4 months.
Yay!
Talk to me about how you managed to, maintain your business when you'd sunk money into a physical location and then you were unable to use it for 4 months straight.
Well, first and most of all, when we started, I had a run-up. I had practitioners who were renting rooms. So I started off, I think, quite well with already making a little bit of money from renting out these rooms. But I guess in the end, it feels for me now that there was a certain sense of a silver lining to it, because starting a business and honestly, being an entrepreneur for a long time, because I've always been a sole trader, also when I was in the Netherlands, but just working for myself, not running something like a business. It was a total different experience. So it came with, even though on paper, the strategy, the idea, the business plan, everything looks wonderful. The belief in it is there, even from people who are then part of the team or around it. But there's a lot of challenges, or at least I found a lot of challenges starting the business, and especially the responsibility for the business, which was quite stressful as well. So the lockdown has helped me, in a sense, to take more of a distance and work on my own resilience as a business owner. So I'm not happy that we had a lockdown, but I'm thankful. Yeah,
that's a lovely perspective on it, Jan. It's funny because I've opened a cafe before, and I've helped people open restaurants before. I came from hospitality, and you're very right. There's a lot of work that goes into setting it up. And then you open, and then it's day one, and then it's not like it's done, and you start working even harder. So you probably got to take a forced break to then. Do you think that's helped you to come back and run the business better now that you're able to?
Oh yes, because I honestly, as you introduced me, I'm like a holistic health coach. So before this clinic, I was seeing people on a very regular basis, but because I started the business, I wasn't really seeing clients myself. And I think during the lockdown, it kind of helped me to understand a little bit more what my role is in the business, and what sacrifices I can take and which ones I can't take. And one of the sacrifices I can't take is not to say, no, I'm not going to see any clients. I feel that that's a really important part of my business. And also, it's a very important part of the business, and also a very important part of helping to bring that sense of limitless possibilities to people. As I also realized, in a sense, I am the carrier of the name, I'm the carrier of the business. So I should also step up in that position. Not that I wasn't doing that, but in a different way. So I hired myself an assistant, and you have an assistant as well. So that just someone helping me to move away from doing the nitty-gritty already has created so much space to work on a strategy, on the purpose, on the direction, and it has allowed me to start seeing people again. Start dating.
That's good. No. That's really important, because that's why you got into it. I imagine you didn't get into it to do paperwork and contracts and agreements and tax and all that kind of thing. You got into it to help people. So Yeah, like you said, my assistant Christian, who I'm constantly praising, he helps me to be able to do the things I really love in this business, which is creative, making imagery and video and writing, and then talking to people and planning strategy with them. And then, all the nitty gritty, like you said, that is the stuff that really gives business owners fatigue, the things they don't like. So I think the decision that you've made to actually hire someone to help you to do that makes you better at what you do. And although it's a scary financial decision at first to cut your own profits to hire someone, you got to do it to grow the business in the future.
Yeah, and I do also realize that because working with clients is also working towards a plan, and it's not necessarily towards a goal, because it's very easy to say, like, I want to lose weight. This is not how I work. It's more about a sense of embracing more of who you are, and in that way feeling that by supporting your overall well-being, you will come into a better space, into a better place, and you will also make decisions that are more true to your core rather than what is expected to choose. So by doing that and working with clients, I also see the value in it, because I'm a person that is more about integrating change in small incremental steps, and but small steps that will bring big change. And I also see that that's a very important part for me, having a business, taking small steps, but making these steps really valuable so that they can help to start change and growth and a more fluid progression into the success of UPAYA.
Yeah, great. Well, what a nice insight. It's important to take little steps. Although when a lot of us start a business, we think it's going to be some humongous leap at the beginning. But often you see people who have a humongous leap also have a pretty big fall afterwards as well. But, that slow rise to building foundations and getting every step covered, then it allows you long-term to build a business. And now that you've invested into a brick and mortar business, you have teams, you have people renting your space, relying on you almost to keep the place going, then you need to set those foundations and have more of a long-term plan. Yeah. So that's great. Are you finding you get, even in this short time you've been open, you've got a good community of recurring customers now?
Yes, because there's a combination of different practitioners here. There's some practitioners who have been working for 10, 15 years. So they have quite a regular base of clients, which is good. There's also some who are, let's say, more at the start of their journey. So that's a different way of encouragement and growth. But there's also a lot of curiosity in there when you start. And I myself noticed, because I have clients, but I have clients that some of them I have had for years. And they're not only clients that come here, they might just see me online. I've got clients in Queensland or in Perth. So there's different there's different areas. They won't come here, but yes is the answer.
And what for you is the secret of retaining a client for years?
Connection.
How so?
I think when there's connection, there's naturally a better ability to be receptive, to take in advice, and to follow it up, rather than just doing it because this person can tell me how to count my calories or kilojoules, or this person can do that. But I also feel that my sense of connecting, and that's what I hear mostly from people, like me personally working, is that it can help, that they feel that I can help them understand themselves better than themselves. And I do that in different ways. So I help them kind of I give them a little bit more of view in who they are and what their personalities are. And rather than thinking that parts of these personalities are aspects of who they don't want to be, that it's more about learning to embrace that part of you, which you sometimes like to reject, but actually see that there's a lot of strength hidden behind that. Because sometimes you have a boundary, but the boundary was necessary at one point in your life. And that can be also strength.
That's big, because a lot of coaches out there, they will offer these, 8-week, 12-week, 6-month programs, which are designed to get an outcome quite quickly. But then they maybe lose the clients after that, and they're always looking for more clients. But it is through retention and long-term working with people that you really see a big, sustainable, long-term change.
Yes, but saying that, in general, 6 to 8 weeks, 6 to 8 or to 12 weeks is when I work more intensely with people. And it just depends for what they're coming for, because a lot of people first come more related towards nutrition aspects, mental aspects, gut aspects. So there is a course in it, but besides that, I keep on seeing people, and it might not be that I see them then every week or every fortnight. I might see people every month or every 2 months or every 3 months. So some people just come back for a checkup. But yeah, I've got a client who's got Prader-Willi syndrome, like in Brisbane, for instance. And I've been seeing her probably now 2 years, but a lot of it is not necessarily, that's why I'm saying, like, for me, it's not only diet or nutrition. It's just really about helping to encourage change and helping her to see who she is, and also helping her family and her surrounding to embrace who she is, so that she can kind of be her own version and grow. So yeah, and that's why now we see each other every 3 weeks. We used to see it weekly, every 2 weeks, but now it's every 3 weeks.
Online, yeah?
Yeah.
Online client. So that's really beautiful, by the way, that you've got this connection with someone who you only meet via video most of the time.
It's very funny, actually, because I don't know if I can tell you, but with her, last year, I did something that was on 9 Live on television, and I did meditations, and it was then shown during the lockdown. She actually found me through television because she felt my energy. So yeah, and again, that's connection. Yeah,
super interesting to hire a coach off of the TV is especially when TV you'd think would be a disconnected format. So that's a good question. As someone who coaches online and also in person, are you seeing now any big benefits or challenges in either one that we might not know about?
One of the reasons why, because people might also ask, like, why did you open up a clinic after a first lockdown? Everything is going online. I see value in doing things online. We're doing that as well. But there's something really like committed towards getting out of your door, stepping into a place, into a room that's not your living room or your bedroom or something else, and really sitting with someone, taking the time. Besides that, when someone's coming into clinic, there's just other things that we can do. I do tests, I do physically things with people. So that's different than when you're seeing someone online. However, it just depends on, I guess you adjust towards the medium, and you can still do a lot. A thing that I like about online, and you might notice that as well, is that there's a little bit more clearer sense of a time frame. Like, I can see a clock and I can say, like, okay, we've got an hour, and I'm quite capable of sticking within it. While if someone comes in, it's harder to have that, at least for me. Some people might just be really like bam, but I'm not like that. So
no, I think you and every doctor in the world. not that you're a doctor, but now that I've got my babies, every time we go to the doctors, they say get here at 1, and then they walk out of their office at 2 o'clock and invite you in like it's nothing, like they haven't made you wait for an hour. I don't understand that system. But
But I would never wait. I would never let someone wait. I deliberately kept some extra time in it because I know that I tend, like, if someone's opening up, and then say like, okay, well, let's continue next week. I think there's just value in, giving a person space. It's so important. Even though we went into isolation, I think it's the least thing that we respect is each other's space, and not just physically, but just space to be. Yeah.
Can be very important to do nothing but listen, right? Just to allow people, if they get to a point in their coaching where they are finally ready, and then you got to let them do it. That's what.
And I guess, I don't know about you, like, even though businesses might be different, like when you say you had a cafe, but for me, like, a process of healing, I always say, is meeting a person where they are and holding the space for them so that they can kind of get to meet themselves and see the possibilities that are there, and also see already what growth potential they just naturally have in them, and that's important, whether you do it online or when you sit with someone. It's really about letting that person be and holding the space for that person. And that's what I did. I started teaching yoga, so it comes really from that background. Meditation, Buddhist practices, it's all about holding space.
I can see that. It's a really, really nice way of putting it, man. And I'd love to move on to that, actually. In the last few minutes, you've mentioned nutrition, gut health, yoga, meditation, all these different things that you do to help people out. And a lot of coaches out there, when you start a business, they'll say you need to be focused, you need to be single-minded on, I am the best yoga teacher, or I am the best gut health practitioner. But you offer a lot of services, and with your team you offer a lot. Do you think there's anything really beneficial about doing that as a business, or is this just for you love doing so many things that you couldn't help yourself?
I'm a person, I love to collect knowledge and experience, so it comes into it. I do, like, when I started this clinic, there were some practitioners who were offering 5 different services, and I was also advising, like, if you really want to work on a marketing level and also on promoting yourself, it's best to kind of stick to one main thing. And I actually, to be honest, I do that. For me, like, food and nutrition is kind of the way in, and through the yoga I incorporate TCM and 5 elements practices in it, because it has helped me to understand more about persons and personalities and their art and their nature, rather than just seeing a person in front of me and saying, okay, you need to lose weight, let's put you on a more ketogenic diet, or no, let's go on a low-fat diet. It's way more about that. And so in a sense, I still am doing, let's say, one thing. I incorporate just different ways of helping to see it, in that sense, more holistic. And I call that mind-body solutions, like really seeing the connection between the mind and the body, how someone is personally, how their nature is to respond into stress. It's very interesting. I should show you that some other time, but I can see, based on someone's face or on certain numbers, birth numbers, it's not numerology, but just patterns in the Chinese traditional medicine, I can help to bring some of these patterns to the surface, and people then really start to sit back like, okay, so you do know me. And it's really helpful for helping them taking the right steps. Yeah.
Sounds like it. So you're saying, how quickly can you figure someone out in the first meeting?
Quickly?
Yeah.
Well, it starts with, like, obviously knowing what they're coming for, what their condition is, so that based on their condition, I can mostly see what could be the underlying stressor. So not necessarily what is the root cause, but what could be the underlying stressor. So someone could be just naturally more inflamed. So in stress. Someone else could be naturally inclined to have weak boundaries in terms of self-care, self-nourishment. So those are really important things to kind of see and help a person to see, because then when you start to work with them, those are important aspects to incorporate in them so that they don't fall back towards old behaviors. Like if you can show, so how quick, it's quite interesting though.
Well,
really
honestly, when you said you can tell things from people's face, I was just wondering, is he doing it to me right now? Was the question. So I found myself looking at my own camera rather than yours, thinking, do I look stressed? Do I look tired?
No. I would never do that right away. So, but yeah.
It is easy as a coach who works with people to start to coach people when they don't want to be coached.
Yeah. But an important part in my work as well, and that's why I'm so drawn to the traditional Chinese medicine, because traditional Chinese medicine, unlike Western medicine, which like I combine the two, but unlike Western medicine is mostly research-based, science-based, says like this works for that. It's quite linear, while TCM practices are more holistic and more based on what do I see, what do I observe, and how can I help to support what I observe. So it's a total different way, but it's a beautiful way of combining the two, because you share, I share knowledge on what I know about food and about gut health and about mental health, for instance, but I also bring it in relationship to the person, what I observe.
Yeah, for sure. Because you're pretty highly qualified in Western and Eastern medicine. So you have a bachelor in clinical dietetics and nutrition. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And an advanced advanced diploma in another word that I've forgotten. Nutritional sciences, is that right? No.
Nutritional medicine.
Nutritional medicine. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So you spend a lot of time, tertiary education, learning how to do what you do. But these days, and I love to ask this question to people who are quite well qualified, these days, very low barrier to entry for coaches to go out and get paid for what they do. Me, for example, I'm a digital marketer. I've never been qualified in what I do. I'm just quite good at it. So do you believe it's important for people to be qualified in the field that they're coaching?
I think qualification is such a, again, Western thing, like, or it's so, I do, in certain aspects, I do agree. Like, I work also based on food science and nutritional science, biochemistry. So in a certain sense, the qualification is necessary because you want to know how the biochemical body works, what the kind of, also a little bit more on a medical aspect, what the interactions are. But you can excel massively in certain subjects at school, but you can just be really shitty in social skills or so a lot of the things that I just discovered through my life is also that qualification comes with experience. So I think the main thing for me in terms of qualification is mainly like not to be too fixed on this is how it is and only this is how it goes, because then I guess you kind of already prepared to be made for failure because it's never what it is. So so that's also with qualification, it's never what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. I think you're totally right. I get the same answer a lot from people in the health and fitness space, is that there's a certain level of safety and knowledge you have to have when you're dealing with people's health and fitness from a nutritional point of view, or, exercise, physiology, that sort of thing. But you can't teach connection. You can't get a piece of paper that says you are great at, even if you have a, psychology degree or whatever, how the mind works doesn't necessarily mean people feel comfortable opening up to you.
Yeah. And obviously, when you look into psychotherapy or counseling, yes, there's a certain sense of like how things are structured, what kind of theories are behind it, what it has shown. But there's a great sense of knowing things, knowing the why and the how, but there's also a really great sense in not always knowing everything and just seeing how things unfold, and then coming in touch with what your strengths are, because it's mostly, like you said, in the most unexpected moments, that's when actually your quality or your skills are coming out. It's not just something that you just do from paper. It's really the experience.
Yeah, I've been told by people on this podcast before, guests, that they almost realize how much they know about a topic when someone is grilling them and talking to them about that topic. So maybe, and I'm finding it myself, I get asked to go and do a talk for someone else's clients on some aspect of marketing, and I'm getting all these questions fired at me, and I know how to answer them. Although if I had to sit down and write a book about it, I'm not sure if I could. So no. I tried to write a book this year, and I got sort of 2/3 the way through it. Then I took like 2 days off, and then just never started again. So I will. I promise.
I had the same. But that's why I said, like, for me, the biggest present that I given myself, and I was, I don't know who it was. I just, on Facebook sometimes several business people share ideas, and I remember when I started this business, that the guy said, like, one of the mistakes that I made when I started the business, and then he was saying not to outsource certain things, and I was just like, really, but like financially, and you don't know. And now that I hired myself a assistant, I actually noticed, like, and that's also experience. Like, you can have in paper, you can have like a degree in business, and that's wonderful, but I don't think anyone, well, maybe, but once you have your degree, I don't think that a person would directly, or hope, I'm not saying that it's not like it, but I can't imagine that someone would then go from university and say, like, okay, now I'm going to start a business. The person starts to become an apprentice somewhere, starts to learn into a corporate industry or whatever. You make your steps through experience. And that's the same thing. Someone told me outsource, and I was like, no, but my experience now tells me, like, yeah, actually he was right. I couldn't listen then, but now I can. Thank you.
Yeah. Took a lot of time and confidence to get there. It's a confidence thing, right? A lot of the stuff that we do, and confidence only comes with experience or ignorance.
Yeah, confidence and comfort.
Comfort, yeah.
I think so as well. Because you're making a huge financial step. And all that I saw at the start of a business was like, I'm taking this risk. I have to be careful, not spend too much, because you never know what's going to go wrong in the future. But at one point, you also have to say, like, okay, like, this kind of fear will only interrupt the growth. So I have to kind of let go of it and get comfortable with the risk. Otherwise, why are you in it?
Yeah. If we didn't like risk, then we'd have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, this has been a really beautiful business-based conversation. I thank you for doing that. But I do want to close up by using some of your knowledge about what you do, your holistic health coaching.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches out there, we consider ourselves to be quite, personally developed, and we'll all go and exercise or cold water showers and meditation and stuff. As a guy who's been in this field for 20 years, do you have any daily health practices that you can recommend to the busy business people out there, always on their computer, that maybe we haven't thought of?
I can only say what for me are important practices health wise, is just really also building in alone time. And like, for instance, for me, when I wake up in the morning, I just have my own ritual. Like I do some asana, some movement, I do some breath work, I meditate, and depending on how much time I have, it can be meditate from 5 minutes to half an hour. And then after that, a part of the meditation is, I know you're your assistant, but it's not necessarily tarot that I do, but I just draw some cards for me for the day to kind of help me to set more towards my intentions. And I find it really helpful because it offers me at the end of the day also something to reflect back on. And not saying that it's directional, like, oh, the card said this. No, it's just more about, okay, this might be subconsciously already a part of me and what I might be meeting throughout the day. I think that's a very important part for me in my health. I also noticed that having my own business, as I said before we started this talk, is that my tendency is to kind of put everything else first except me. So it's also a really important part for me that I build in my time to have my lunch, to have my breakfast, to have my dinner, to also know when I turn off my computer, when I'm available and not. Because if I don't do it, and I often also don't do it, I notice that it will catch up in my sleep or whatever. So yeah, a lot of self practices. I think that's important.
Yeah, I know. I realized that was a very broad question and everyone's so different, but I think setting boundaries is so important, because initially it seems very natural to think like, oh, I've got to work really, really hard for every dollar. I've got to be available to all my clients every hour of the day and on the weekends, and you're checking your phone as soon as you wake up. But it usually, the best clients you have, they'll be texting you during business hours, making appointments, and then they'll really appreciate you for it. Whereas the worst clients you have are the ones who will be, paying you the least and texting you all hours of the day. And so it's setting those boundaries. Yeah. You find a higher quality of client, a higher quality of life, and everyone seems to respect your time more, and therefore you love your business, and it rolls and cycles.
Well, yeah, and even you doing your podcast now, even though you're energetic and you're listening and you're talking, you're interacting, but it takes energy. Everything takes energy. So if in the end it comes down, what's the balance? How much energy goes into something and how much it gets back? And I think in order to grow, or business-wise, person-wise, coach-wise, you need to be really aware of energy and your own energy, because if you lose your own energy, you can't support others. So, and then you lose your profession, and then you lose your clients, and you will notice that yourself as well. I can imagine, and I have had that many times, that when I felt like, okay, my intention is now, okay, I want to focus on working with more clients, people would come in, because I honestly, my energy is then open to say, like, come in. If I had moments that I felt like, oh no, I'm too busy, it's too overwhelmed, I can't work with clients right now, I wouldn't get inquiries. So that's how it works. It can be spiritual, but it's not necessarily spiritual. It is just energy, and energy is energy.
No, I believe that big time. And I've done a lot of, I interviewed a guy last week all about, law of attraction and the metaverse and everything. And he had a very similar outlook on the world. And I definitely believe all of it. But let's set the boundary for ourselves right now, because I realized I said I'll have you on for a certain amount of time, and I've gone way over the time because we've really enjoyed talking to each other. But it's been beautiful having you on. I appreciate such an open conversation, man. And I think we could definitely talk for a lot longer.
Yeah.
But let's let you get back to your business and go and have your lunch, etc. Thank you one more time for being on the podcast today. It's been really lovely having you.
My pleasure, Alex. I really loved it, and it's nice. Like you said, talking about things that you love is always good to see. So yeah,
fantastic. Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and I hope anyone listening or watching these videos enjoys it too. So we'll be back sometime next week, guys. I don't really set a schedule for these things, but anyone watching, thank you so much. Anyone on Spotify, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time on Coaches to the Moon. Much love.